The Earth's climate is changing due to greenhouse gas emissions, with significant regional and global consequences. The Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago, also known as the MWRD, has developed a comprehensive climate action plan to help combat this crisis. The plan ensures uninterrupted wastewater treatment and stormwater management services while seeking solutions for the global problem. The MWRD's Climate Action Plan demonstrates our dedication to addressing climate change and outlines goals to reduce our carbon footprint, promote regional greenhouse gas reductions, and inspire others to join the global solution. This plan serves as a flexible roadmap for a sustainable and resilient future. The MWRD Climate Action Plan aligns with the goals of the Paris Agreement and the United States Climate Alliance. It sets ambitious targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions, including a 28% reduction by 2025 and an 80% reduction by 2050 compared to 2005 levels. We have also identified stretch targets or potential goals of 50% reduction by 2025 and achieving net zero emissions by 2050. These targets align with the federal government's goal of reducing emissions by 50 to 52% by 2030 and achieving a net zero emission economy by 2050. The current plan focuses on reducing the MWRD's carbon footprint by at least 28% by 2025 and 60% by 2040. These targets align with those set for the Chicago region. Future revisions of the plan will provide a framework to achieve the 80% reduction and ultimately reach net zero emissions. The MWRD has set ambitious goals for energy neutrality and carbon reduction. Two scenarios are presented in the Climate Action Plan to guide the MWRD in meeting these goals. Scenario 1 focuses on renewable electricity targets based on legislations enacted in Illinois, while Scenario 2 emphasizes energy neutrality at the MWRD. Illinois has made significant progress in transitioning to clean energy, with the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act providing a roadmap to achieve 100% carbon-free energy by 2045. The state's commitment to sustainability and equity is evident in this legislation and the previous Future Energy Jobs Act. The Climate Action Plan acknowledges Scenario 1 as the pathway to achieve carbon reduction targets, but it highlights the need to reassess pathways after the energy neutrality study in 2024. The plan will be updated accordingly. Wastewater treatment is an energy-intensive process that contributes to carbon emissions. The MWRD has implemented measures to reduce energy usage and has achieved significant progress. Benchmarking data shows that the MWRD's energy use intensity, or EUI, is 70% lower than the national median. The MWRD's electricity usage normalized for flow is 60% lower than the regional average for energy consumption. The benchmarking data highlights the MWRD's commitment to energy efficiency and sustainability in providing essential wastewater treatment services. This pictogram illustrates the sources of greenhouse gas emissions and carbon footprint estimations for the MWRD within its system boundaries. Direct emissions, or what we classify as Scope 1 emissions, include those from wastewater and sludge treatment, discharged treated water, fossil fuel vehicles, and natural gas usage. Indirect emissions, or Scope 2 emissions, come from purchased electricity used in facilities. These emissions can all lead to discharges of unwanted carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. The encouraging news is that trees help offset emissions by sequestering carbon. The carbon footprint includes both Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions and considers carbon sequestration by trees. Scope 3 emissions outside of the organization's control are not included in the Climate Action Plan to avoid double accounting. Examples of Scope 3 emissions for the MWRD include the manufacture and delivery of materials for phosphorus removal and solids processing. Furthermore, certain Scope 3 emissions, such as employee travel and commuting, are already accounted for in Cook County's emissions inventory. However, staff members are researching life cycle emission factors for materials and chemicals specific to the MWRD to inform procurement decisions. The Climate Action Plan recognizes that carbon is sequestered in soil through the land application of MWRD biosolids, but this is not included in the carbon footprint calculation. The MWRD's emissions reduction plan follows a hierarchy that prioritizes decarbonization efforts through a four-tier approach. The focus is on reducing process emissions, procuring and self-generating renewable energy, and utilizing offsets to achieve the net zero goal. This approach encourages cost-effective efficiency improvements to reduce energy demand before investing in new technologies. The MWRD will assess the potential for generating carbon insets, retaining environmental credits, and utilizing offsets to address remaining emissions that are challenging to mitigate. This comprehensive approach ensures a balanced and effective strategy toward achieving the net zero goal. Tier 1 actions. Tier 1 actions focus on reducing direct emissions from the treatment process and indirect emissions from purchased electricity. This includes modernizing treatment infrastructure, implementing advanced aeration technology, and adopting efficient methodologies. Tier 2 actions. Tier 2 actions emphasize the production of renewable energy through the installation of combined heat and power equipment and completing the energy neutrality study to reduce reliance on external power sources. Tier 3 actions. Tier 3 actions initiate studies to overcome and control the more difficult greenhouse gases such as nitrous oxide and fugitive methane. While these gases can be easily studied and controlled in a laboratory environment, there remains a significant uncertainty in measuring and controlling these on a large scale. Tier 4 actions. Tier 4 actions explore ways to sequester carbon and adopt a life cycle approach to enhance resilience. The MWRD will evaluate the potential for generating carbon insets, retaining environmental credits, and using credible carbon credits to offset residual emissions that are difficult to mitigate, after maximizing opportunities for greenhouse gas reduction and renewable energy implementation. The MWRD is implementing Tier 1 actions to reduce Scope 1 direct emissions. Decommissioning outdated MHOF processes at the Stickney Water Reclamation Plant by 2025 will significantly reduce the carbon footprint. Coal-firing boilers at the Stickney and Hanover Park water reclamation plants will increase biogas utilization, reducing natural gas purchase. The MWRD is expanding its fleet of electric and alternative fuel vehicles to reduce transportation emissions. The MWRD is implementing Tier 1 actions to reduce Scope 2 indirect emissions through operational changes and process efficiency enhancements. Aeration treatment technologies and blowers are being improved at the Egan and Curie facilities, and aeration technology is being enhanced at the Hanover Park, Egan, and O'Brien facilities. These actions have the potential to greatly decrease electricity usage and Scope 2 emissions. The MWRD is addressing Scope 2 emissions by prioritizing the transition to renewable or carbon-free electricity. This involves purchasing renewable energy, generating renewable energy from biogas through combined heat and power systems, and increasing the proportion of renewable energy through direct purchases or renewable energy credits. The MWRD is conducting an energy neutrality study to explore the potential of generating renewable energy within its facilities. It is also seeking funding opportunities to enhance renewable energy production and utilization. The MWRD is focusing on addressing the challenges posed by difficult greenhouse gases such as nitrous oxide and fugitive methane as part of their Tier 3 actions. Accurate measurement and control of these gases at a large scale presents complexity. Common methods for estimating greenhouse gas inventories may not accurately reflect true emissions, and the emission factor for these gases has increased over time. Preliminary research suggests that nitrous oxide emissions may be overestimated, highlighting the need for direct measurements. To ensure accurate inventory assessment, the MWRD plans to conduct studies in 2023 and 2024 specifically aimed at measuring and understanding greenhouse gas emissions from its operations. This research will contribute to more accurate inventories and provide insights for future mitigation efforts. The MWRD is also collaborating with the Water Research Foundation to establish industry-wide guidance for water utility greenhouse gas inventories. As part of the Tier 4 actions, the MWRD is exploring strategies for carbon sequestration and adopting a life cycle approach to achieve its net zero goal. Research is focused on sustainable technologies like the revolving algal biofilm system, which can remove nutrients and potentially capture carbon dioxide. Expanding native prairie landscapes on MWRD lands is also being considered as a carbon sink and ecosystem restoration measure. The MWRD supports research initiatives such as the Water Research Foundation-funded project on carbon offsetting and interdependencies in the water-energy-food nexus. The MWRD is open to purchasing credible carbon credits to offset any remaining emissions after maximizing reduction in renewable energy efforts. Cost estimates associated with different pathways are being evaluated to make informed decisions that balance the environmental impact and financial considerations. The MWRD is actively exploring innovative solutions, engaging in collaborative research, and adopting a comprehensive approach to achieve its net zero goal while enhancing resilience and sustainability. This graph illustrates the MWRD's carbon footprint from 2005 to 2022 and provides projections until 2040. In 2022, the carbon footprint was 24.1% lower than the 2005 baseline, demonstrating progress towards the goal of 28% reduction by 2025. The MWRD's emissions reductions hierarchy focuses on Tier 1 and Tier 2 actions, which are expected to contribute to the majority of emission reductions to achieve a 60% reduction by 2040. The plan for meeting the 2050 targets will be incorporated in future revisions of the Climate Action Plan. A dashboard showing MWRD's carbon footprint and progress toward greenhouse gas emissions reduction has been developed and is available to view at mwrd.org/strategic-plan. The MWRD is committed to engaging the public as well as regional and national agencies in addressing climate change and promoting awareness of its initiatives. Collaboration is seen as essential for building community resilience in the region and to create equitable adaptation plans to address the impacts of climate change. The MWRD has a long history of collaborating with regional and national agencies to address environmental challenges. They are dedicated to investing in sustained efforts to tackle the pressing climate challenge. The MWRD aims to lead by example and has implemented a range of comprehensive actions to promote regional climate resilience. These actions include community engagement and education, modernizing telecommuting practices, reducing emissions from business travel, employee recognition, enhancing carbon sinks, and procuring low carbon intensity materials. Some examples of these overarching actions include: 1. We believe in the power of education and outreach. By engaging with the community and regional agencies, we hope to foster a shared sense of responsibility for addressing climate change and inspire collective action. The MWRD is collaborating with the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus, and the City of Chicago for regional resilience. 2. We understand the importance of reducing carbon emissions from commuting. To this end, we are modernizing our telecommuting practices and rules to encourage employees to work remotely when feasible and have implemented technologies to support minimized travel. 3. We are actively exploring ways to minimize emissions associated with business travel. This includes budget for purchasing carbon offsets for necessary air travel and expanding employee access to vehicle charging stations. 4. We recognize that our employees play a crucial role in our sustainability efforts. We encourage their active involvement in climate initiatives. 5. The MWRD will continue its Restore the Canopy program, beneficial biosolids use, and explore other opportunities to enhance carbon sinks and green infrastructure projects. 6. We are actively researching on sourcing materials that have a minimal carbon footprint, prioritizing sustainability in our procurement process. By implementing these actions and engaging with the community and regional agencies, we strive to create a strong sense of shared responsibility for addressing climate change. You can find more information on our Climate Action Plan at the following link. Thank you for your attention and interest in the climate resilience efforts of the MWRD.